Hello, Luck We Had Pod listeners. This is one of your hosts, Amanda, just dropping in with a note before the episode to say, first of all, thank you so much for joining us again. If you're here on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe, rate, review, and we're glad to have you. And we're glad to have everybody here. And we just wanted to give a little disclaimer that this episode, we have a guest on, and we got a little bit carried away with talking about future things that happen in the series just through the context of what happened in this episode. So this episode is going to contain spoilers through the rest of the series. I hope that doesn't bother everybody. I hope that everybody listening to this podcast isn't like bracing for spoilers. We're really sorry. But yeah, we are going to be talking about future spoilers through the series, and we just thought that that deserved a little note up at the top. Okay, thanks, and I hope you enjoy the episode. So, Evan, did you say you wanted to take the lead in our story time?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, let's set it up though. Let's do the official. Hey, everybody! Welcome back to the Luck We Had Shameless Recap Podcast. What's up?
Hello, hello.
I am one of your co-hosts. My name is Amanda.
I am Evan, your other co-host, and today we have a lucky guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lena, and I credit myself as the person who got Evan into Shameless.
And we are so thankful for that.
Very thankful for that.
Yeah, Evan and I have been friends for 6 years, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. But we always help each other with all the shows we get interested into.
Oh,
I honestly, I think I want to blame you for getting me into Supernatural too.
I don't think I'm the reason.
I feel like you were. Like, just, I remember when you had your... Watching? I started watching it only in, like, I think, end of 7th grade, 8th grade, because I remember when you would pose with your fucking cardboard cutout.
Yeah, wait, and no, that's totally because I was, like, 12 when I was at the height of my Supernatural obsession, and so that would make you 13.
Yeah.
That is insane.
I blame you for everything.
I mean, yeah, you have to blame me for Sunny, too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, moving on from being a TV fanatic, all thanks to Lena.
Before we get into this, too, we posted, we're on Apple Podcasts now. Please go like us, rate us, and review us. But please just be nice. If you don't like us, just don't bother with it.
Can we get a 1-star review?
Yes. Oh my God.
I'll do one.
But we dropped our new episode yesterday, and we got a handful of listeners right away, which made me really happy. And there was this awesome user on TikTok who shouted us out when I told her about the podcast. Oh, I forgot to look up her username. But she was so nice, and it was great. I duetted her. I think she's like 15, but she seems really cool. I've been going through like shameless TikTok and trying to be like, do I just comment the name of our podcast on all of them? Just spam them with it.
That's just called grassroots. That's called grassroots campaigning.
I joined like Facebook, like shameless Facebook groups to be like, hi, so there's this new podcast. But yeah, let's jump right into it. It's gonna be a good episode today. I'm excited.
All right. Alrighty, so today we are doing episode 10, Nana Gallagher Had an Affair. This episode was aired on March 13th, 2011, and it was written by, how do you say her last name, Cindy? Caponera?
Sure.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sure.
It's her second episode of Shameless that she has written, and her first was Casey Cassidy, and aka the Heist episode, which we did a couple episodes back. She already has writing credits for At Home with Amy Sedaris. Is that right?
Yeah, Amy Sedaris played Princess Carolyn in BoJack.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she has a sketch comedy show that Cindy Caponera wrote for. So sketch comedy seems to be this woman's forte.
Mm-hmm. And also 1 or 2 episodes of Nurse Jackie and Sunny with a Chance. Isn't that Disney show?
Yep.
Yeah. The Demi Lovato one.
Yeah. This episode was directed by Adam Birdstein. This is his only Shameless episode he's directed. He's directed 12 episodes of Scrubs, 9 episodes of Oz, 6 episodes of 30 Rock, 8 episodes of Breaking Bad, 12 episodes of Californication, and 3 episodes of Nurse Jackie. So this man got a lot of things under his belt.
Yes, and him and Cindy have that Nurse Jackie thing in common. That that Showtime
Did they work on the same episode?
Oh, I don't know. I did not look that up.
I feel like that's how a lot of things are, is that like directors and writers work with each other on other things and then they go on to work with each other on like other smaller shows and stuff like that.
I like the vibe of these other things this guy's directed too. Like Scrubs, 30 Rock, California. These are good shows.
Yeah, no, he has a big, like, he got a big section of different shows. All right, so the synopsis of this episode, Monica returns wreaks havoc on the Gallagher clan, while Frank hits a new low to stop a disability worker from tampering with his benefits. So the previously on is Frank, and of course we're reminded that Karen's dumbass storyline where her dad is trying to re-virginize her and make her born again and bribed her with a car to do it. Also, and the fact that Cash caught Ian and Mickey and shot Mickey in the fucking thigh. So we have that. And then that Steve bought Fiona a house that right down the street from the Gallagher's home. And oh yeah, we forgot about Tony. He's still there in the show.
The only
king, such a king.
I love Tony. And that the fact that Frank pulled Monica back into the family and she's trying to take Liam, and basically Fiona was like, there you go. All right. So the episode starts with, we open on Bob and Monica in the bathroom. Apparently a few days have passed since where Monica and Bob showed up to the house and are playing house with everyone. And Bob can't wait to get the hell out of there and take Liam with them.
I fucking hate Bob.
I think Bob was a little bit of an icon. Very much ahead of her time. Very much like, because I know we're supposed to root for the Gallaghers, but like objectively they're terrible people. But like I don't know, like obviously she was a bitch, but like I respected her in some respects.
In the sense that I understood, like, I feel like because of how we know Monica is as a person, like we don't really know what Monica has told Bob about their whole home life. So Bob's probably just like, fuck all these people, this is our baby down, stuff like that.
Right. And obviously she had that sort of mentality where she was like, oh, well, when I met you, you were like in so much pain. But I don't think she really understands that Monica is like
the reason for all the pain.
Well, that, but also I don't think she knows or understands, because there was no mention about Monica's bipolar from Bob. So I don't know if she understands that Monica is bipolar.
Yeah, that's why Bob always came across to me as like an abusive partner. Like she found this little baby bird and she fixed her up, and now Monica's gonna do whatever the fuck Bob tells her to do, because Bob's like, no, I fixed you. So like, listen.
Right.
Like that was always my big problem with Bob, and like, get your hands off Liam. Like, can we leave Liam alone?
That was definitely the one thing that she did that I was like, all right. I mean, to be fair, she only was there for like 2 episodes, so like I can't really have that much of an opinion on her.
Yeah.
All right. So while that's all going on, Lip overhears all of this and goes back down to his and Ian's room, and they just stare at each other, so overwhelmed with having Monica and Bob just in their household now. Over at Fiona and Jimmy's new place, it's too quiet and Fiona can't stand it. They're in bed and they hear baby monitor Fiona that has placed next to the bed so she can keep tabs on the kids, because she doesn't trust Monica to do it at all. And apparently it works like a walkie-talkie, because her and Debbie just keep on like talking back and forth, and they're doing it while Debbie's brushing her teeth.
Yeah, first of all, that is how baby monitors work.
Well, I never really had a baby monitor when I was younger.
I'm pretty sure that's how they work. I'm pretty sure you can radio back to the other monitor, but
I didn't know they were two-way like that. I didn't know that.
Pretty sure that's how they work.
I feel like certain times, because I feel like they definitely upgraded with like the screens and shit like that, where like
for sure,
like, talk and stuff. But who knows? It makes sense. That
part hurt me so much, because like obviously we've seen over the last 9 episodes that Fiona is the only mother that these kids know, but like for real, like even with their mother in the house, and Carl and Debbie are just up late, and Fiona from down the street is like, all right, but did you brush your teeth and do your homework? Like, can you please go to bed? You have school in the morning. Like,
right.
She was only supposed
to break me.
She was supposed to be younger than me. And I every time that she has to take care of these kids, I'm like, she's supposed to be 3 years younger than I am right now. Like, no, incorrect.
Oh, yeah, so I did a little bit of math later, because she mentions that it's been 23 and a half months since Monica left, but then she also says like, oh, I should have done this when I turned 18 because Frank was so broken when Monica left. So she's only like 19 or 20 in season 1.
She mentions
Oh,
that she's
really?
over 21. She's almost 22. She mentions that like a few episodes ago because math and time don't exist here.
No,
Yeah.
period. I mean, like, let's talk about Debbie's 3 birthdays and Ian being 16 for 3 seasons. But I mean, yeah, I like this is so early. This is way earlier than I've rewatched in a really long time. It's so weird to see how young everyone was.
Mm-hmm.
But like they definitely they messed her character up a little bit in later seasons.
Oh, Fiona?
It was a
Oh.
little she
Yeah.
didn't feel like the same like mother to me, even though I understand that the kids are grown up and she was starting to live her own life. It didn't feel like Fiona at its core to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still love her though.
I heard season 7 and 8 with her and Ian got like super contentious and terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just
They
like-
had a big fight.
It was just like really hard to watch because she just became like nasty in a sense, and like she had her reasons, but she just became like really, really nasty to like all the kids, and like it got to the point where like it made sense because she's older and she wants to be able to like move on and live her own life, but like those kids were not set up to take over Fiona's position in any sense, so they're still going off Fiona's the mom figure. So like I don't know, it just hurt a lot of the things she said to a lot of the kids, especially Lip. Like her and Lip throughout the last couple seasons, I did not like that either.
I mean, I will say that it worked because he did. I mean, spoiler for everybody. We're trying to avoid spoilers, but
I mean, I can cut it out if we go too deep.
well, it's whatever. Lip does end up getting sober after his little stint with alcohol. So I think her tough love worked in a sense, but definitely did not feel like the same Fiona that we know as of right now.
Yeah.
But I can see the progression of her character though does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in the sense that I feel like she was so like, not in the sense like innocent baby, but she had that like mentality because she was so young. But then she's gotten to the point where she's old enough and she was like, I don't need to be the superior anymore. All right. So the next morning at the Gallagher house, Monica is struggling to keep up with the morning routine. She has to sign permission slips, and Bob's being stingy with money but the kids need school money. Like, what do you think? Like, money doesn't grow on trees, bitch. And Monica's not good at this, and Bob is not helping at all because Bob's just standing there holding Liam, like minding her own business. Fiona's listening from her window, flicking a lighter nervously, frustrated as hell. Steve shuts the window and suggests that Fiona go help. Fiona refuses because she knows Monica's gonna fuck up soon. And exactly, like
Yeah.
I love Jimmy Steve as much as the next person, but like the timing for all of this was just so weird, and especially now. And
Yeah.
Steve's like, "No, lay back. You're gonna be fine. Go check on them." But she's like, "You're the one who bought us this house, so we don't need to be there."
Yeah. And like then Fiona starts listing off. I want to keep a running list like through this series of everything they say Monica has done to them because this is like the beginning of the list.
Like Monica and Frank.
Yeah. In upcoming episodes in like sorry spoiler alert in like the court battle where she's like listing off, oh, here's why I need custody.
She's the Ian fever thing that broke my heart.
Oof,
That made me cry.
that poor little baby. Anyway, back to
All right, let's just go down a list of Monica's transgressions so far. So she left a Carl Oktoberfest until November. That's so funny. Burned a hole in Liam's footy pajamas when she fell asleep smoking a cigarette while nursing, and never called, never came by, and never sent freaking a birthday card ever.
Burned a hole in Ian's footy pajamas. Like, oh,
Poor Ian.
I love
That
that.
kid can't get
Ian
anything.
really gets the short stick all the time.
He
All the
pulled the
time.
short stick of the Gallaghers for real.
Ugh.
Gay.
Is it season one?
little
Is it
bastard
season
chuckle.
one? Is it season one when they go try to see get their DNA test? Is that season one?
This is this episode.
This
Is this episode?
It's
Oh
this
my god,
episode.
I blacked out watching that episode the other day.
But yeah. Yep. So
Alright,
Monica has fucked up quite a bit.
Fiona acts like Monica leaving was a joy for her, and it didn't really devastate her, but we all know that's fake.
Yeah.
Steve recommends getting a lawyer, and Fiona says, this man's suggesting a lawyer to the people he's been spending the last 6 months to. She can't afford lunch. He buys her a phone and she fights it a little, but eventually accepts it. Wow, let's add that to a list of gifts Steve tries to give Fiona.
She's fighting it just to be polite. She's like, no, I can't take it.
Back to Monica. She's packing lunches for the kids and handing them off. Bob says that they won't be here when the kids get home from school and gets an attitude when Debbie asks why. Why you gotta have an attitude with Debbie? She asks in a little question. This girl's 9 years old at this point.
And she's like, Fiona always tells us why she won't be here. Because she's the primary caretaker and they should know where she is.
Yeah, there's no other adult in that household at any times besides
There's no other legal adult. Lip and Ian are good substitutes, but they're just really babysitters.
They got their own shit going on.
Literally.
Lip sends the kids on their way and puts his foot down that over his dead body that they are not taking Liam with them. And Bob tries to square him up. I don't know, Bob. You're camped out at my house. You're fucking my mother, and you're talking about stealing my baby brother. Why would we have a problem? Exactly. This random bitch comes in. It's this is my baby. No. Who are you anyways?
I love Philip. I love Philip Gallagher in this scene. It's just Jeremy Allen White getting to be angry on the show makes me so happy.
He's incredible. I think Lip season 1 through 5 is just amazing.
Yeah.
He truly has some of the most unhinged moments in the show.
He was pretty great in season 10 too. I really enjoyed him in season 10.
Yeah.
I think it's also because Jeremy Allen White also just became a dad, so it felt so authentic.
Yeah. Oh my God. Congratulations to him. I'm so happy for him.
Literally,
and
congrats to him.
What's his wife's name? Addison?
Tammy.
I think so.
Oh, his real life.
No, not in the show, in real life.
Oh yeah, Addison.
I think you're right. I'm not sure. I don't recognize her from any things, any shows or anything.
No, I don't think they've ever they didn't work together before they started dating. Oh, we'll get into that later. How everybody on Shameless dates each other.
Date people that he works with.
Yeah.
Cameron dates. Yeah, Cameron dates literally everyone he works with. But
oh my God.
Except for Noel Fisher. If you're a Mosher fan, get out of here. Get out of here.
Period. I just think it's kind of creepy. Well, and also Noel, and this isn't even to say anything about age gap relationships, but when they met, Cameron was 17, Noel was 26.
Yeah.
So
thanks, Shameless.
Yeah.
Well, so for anyone to be oh my God, they're in love, I'm nah.
Noel's been happily with an incredibly gorgeous woman for over a decade.
She's so pretty. That I tried to see what she was from, and the only thing I could find on IMDb is that she played a makeup artist on that Muppet show that came out a couple years ago on Fox or whatever.
She was on this short-lived
a couple movies.
She was on this short-lived TV show on Hulu with the guy that was the lead on Burn Notice. And she was really good on that. That show should have gone on longer. It got canceled too soon. But she's good. I like her.
I like her. Yeah, I think she's very sweet. Even though I don't know her in real life, I think she's very sweet.
Yeah, she just seems very pretty. She just has such a good vibe to her. I love her. Good for her, Noel.
Anyway, Lip's standing up to Bob.
Yeah.
Get her ass.
Get her ass, Philip. Monica pulls them apart, and Lip, of course, storms out, and Monica follows him out and tries to fucking bond. Lip's looking, he's about to burst into tears, and it hurts. I hate watching this. Lip and Monica's relationship doesn't get locked at that much, but fuck, it sucks because we really don't know that much about Lip and Monica's really involvement with each other. We really hear just what Fiona has to say about everything that happened when they were way younger and stuff like that.
It's a spicy kind of trauma is a great note.
It's a spicy kind of trauma. There is really truly nothing like your parent apologizing to you for something for how they hurt you or how bad they quote unquote did. There is really nothing like it because it's that's when you really start to see your parent as a person instead of your parent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's kind of insane to me.
And then Lip drops my favorite quote of all times. Next time you think about dropping in, don't. You fucked up our lives enough already. And boom, walks away. I love him.
Yeah. Like I said, I love Jeremy Allen White. I love and him and Chloe Webb and Emmy Rossum and Chloe Webb, and then in later seasons, Cameron Monaghan and Chloe Webb. The trauma and the tension that builds when these people are in scenes together is just so, I just want to grab it. It's so good.
She really brings out the best in all of them, Chloe Webb, and it sucks that she wasn't on the show that much, but like she had such a huge impact on the show, even though she only appeared like 5 or 6 times total.
Yeah, I think it's just because of all like the underground trauma of it all that like she basically fueled the show in the sense of her not being there ever.
It'll forever make me
and
bitter.
It's like
it'll always make me bitter that Mickey and Monica never met. Like this
yes.
The fact that Trevor got to meet Monica, but
Amanda just walked away.
Let's not talk about Trevor.
Oh my god, me and Amanda made like a disclaimer at the beginning of our episode like last week. We were like, listen, when we talk about how much we hate someone, it's not because of their sexuality or their race or their gender or how they identify. No, it's because they're a fucked up person and we don't like them.
Like
mostly about Trevor.
It's nothing on the actor either, because oh my god, what is his name who plays Trevor?
Elliot something.
Elliot something. He is incredible.
Elliot Fletcher.
Yes, he's incredible. I respect him so much, but like his character, oh my god.
Yeah. And it's the same thing.
And it's like you're really gonna try to like. I think even though Caleb was kind of shitty, it was a really hard act to follow.
Yeah.
Anybody who's trying to follow being in a relationship with Ian after Noel Fisher just totally like rose the bar up to the moon.
Yeah.
Like
you're not wrong.
You just can't recreate the chemistry that they have. You just can't recreate it. I love that we always just, no matter what we're talking about the storyline. And anyway, Mickey and Noel.
Yeah, period. Well, there's not enough of him in the early episodes.
Yeah.
I will say this about Monica. I think like she could have been a really great, interesting, layered character if they had spent more time with her. Like brought her more in. Like her and Ian had such a connection, but I do think that her end was the right decision. The way that they dealt with her character, I think was the right decision. But she had like her moments where she really, really seemed like she wanted to connect and commit to them, but her instability and especially her taste in partners, like she is so easily manipulated and persuaded, and it's just I do kind of feel for her, even though she was like the worst.
Yeah, because she has that innocence factor to her, but then you also have to play in that do we know she's bipolar in the early seasons or?
Yes.
We know there's something off about her, but they don't name it at least.
Oh, okay. They don't. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I feel like that's also such a big factor because like you almost in the sense that like you're just going ham all the time, and then you find that one comfort person, and then you ride that out, and then it's kind of like jump into the next. But no, I agree with the sense that like Monica could have been a really interesting character that they could have developed, because I feel like a lot of her storyline was just built off of previous knowledge that the kids have talked about with like their traumas with her, and then her also coming back and starting her own feuds with everyone and stuff like that. But her send off, I as much as I don't like her, I did cry. It was a really sad and sincere moment, and especially the funeral, like that shit made me cry.
Yeah, and it does seem like a lot of the time when she comes back, not necessarily to always stir the pot. Like she just kind of shows up and they have a good time for a little bit because they're like, oh, mom's back. Like if you remember like season 2, they all went to Carl's football game and then Thanksgiving, but then obviously something happens and she's sent away again.
Yeah.
For some reason. Obviously season 2 is very, very sad, but it's just like she kind of makes an appearance and like has a bonding moment with somebody, like whether that ends up being positive or negative, and then just kind of like sent away again.
And I think even just specifically the Monica storyline is why I enjoyed that this show was qualified as a drama for the first 4 seasons. And they only changed it to comedy because they didn't want to fight with Breaking Bad and with Game of Thrones in Emmy season every year. But like it didn't fucking help them. So like,
yeah, they don't win Emmys anyway.
when they leaned into the drama, everything was so meaty and so good. And then we got at post season 5, we just got seasons of fucking nonsense until they brought their golden goose Noel Fisher back. Like
yeah, I really think. Well, even then in season 10, like there were some moments that were played for laughs that I felt like could have really benefited from being dramatic.
The whole Kev thing.
that, and then like the one scene where they're both talking about like they both think that the other one killed their parole officer, and it's like
that
it's
scene
like
is
played for
so
laughs.
funny.
It's so funny.
But I'm just like, why? The amount of jokes that were in the last couple of seasons, like, yeah, it made me laugh, but I'm just like, it almost feels like not a sitcom. It didn't feel as real anymore.
That
Oh yeah,
did feel
one thing
very
that
sitcom.
definitely sticks out in my mind is the 7-Eleven send-off where they put Noel in a dress. But like I don't know, it was supposed to be this dramatic, heartfelt, sad moment, but they're like
Put him in a wig and clip-on
is making fun of him by like putting him, just because like the whole situation seems extremely absurd. So I just felt like, I don't know, like it was played for laughs when it really shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
And
I
it should have
agree.
been this like sad, heartfelt moment, but whatever.
I agree. Like when he got
And
in
then
the
we
car
got
and
that
like pulled the
amazing
wig
kiss.
on, it like brought all the tension that got built up in the goodbye kiss just got destroyed when he fucking pulled that ratty ass.
When he
Party
put the
City
wig back on. Oh.
I'm gonna put a disclaimer at the top of this episode.
I
We
can't
will
do
be
it.
talking about spoilers in this episode. There's no way around it. Sorry about it, guys. If you're not caught up
Yep,
on the new
sorry.
series,
There's too
Oops.
many actually chamois stands in here right now, so it's inevitable.
Yes.
All right, let's continue. All right,
So
over to the Jacksons' house. Karen's dad is trying to find something for them all to watch on TV as Karen gets ready to school, as if everything's normal. Like, no, it's not. You're the worst man in the entire world. Like, Karen, just everything about her makes me sad at this point. Karen asks if she can get her new car painted, and her dad said some stupid stuff about Jesus protecting her at a purity bar.
the purity ball. Sorry.
The purity ball, yeah.
Ball. Sheila makes Frank a whole gourmet breakfast, but he blows her off because he needs to go sign the settlement with Monica. The amount of food waste Sheila prepares for everyone that they don't eat will always be the death of me, because I would kill for a Sheila meal.
Bro, like she's on Rachel Ray all day, every day.
Yes.
Those muffins during when Debbie stole the baby, I would have eaten all of those muffins for her.
That was also me. Like when I'm panicked and everything is terrible, I'm gonna make some muffins and I'm gonna just keep making some fucking muffins. Like I love that panic response.
Good for her. Yeah, seeing Karen is always really weird. When obviously you're caught up and like she has been there for a really long time. I did see that Laura Slade Wiggins, who played her, mentioned a couple times that they had some disputes over her contract concerning nudity, because I feel like Karen was like always.
I saw her boobs probably once a season that she was in. Like, you saw her boobs a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But people still come up to her and are like, oh, do you still do like super like nude work and stuff? And she's like, I haven't done any nudity since Shameless.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the thing about Shameless, is that you can be on Shameless and more than not, you'll probably have to see your boobs or your ass, and then you'll never be doing. Shameless is just one of those shows that, like, if you're on it, like, we're gonna see something of your body.
Yeah.
And that's so weird to say that, but I think that's just like how the characters are written and just the situations we're put in, that it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think I saw her mention a couple times that they did have some sort of dispute over her contract concerning nudity. I will probably have to fact check that, but I saw
As in that
like,
she didn't want to do it as much as they were writing it in.
Yes.
And
Gotcha,
probably
gotcha.
because she's a lesser known actress, so even though she had sex scenes and they were like, oh, you need to have nudity in it. Like, Sheila is fucking constantly in this show. Tell me one time you ever seen Joan Cusack naked.
Never
once.
seen her naked. She has been in sex scenes, but she was never like naked, because Sheila had that whole like femdom thing.
Yeah. But like it's also the Joan Cusack power to be like, yeah, no, I'll do a sex scene. I'm keeping my fucking clothes on. Fuck you. Like,
and they were like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll just make her be the top.
Exactly. So I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, I feel bad for the women that had to like both of the girls that played or I guess not Jane Levy. Jane Levy didn't really ever have to get naked.
She wasn't. She wasn't in the show long enough for her character to have an arc like that, because Mandy doesn't get with Lip until season 2 or 3.
Yeah, when it's Emma Greenwell.
So, yeah.
So like Emma and the girl that played Karen and the woman that plays Svetlana, even like all
Isadora, Laura, and Emma.
Yeah, and
I
then
love
Emmy,
Isadora so much.
and then Emmy and Shinola too. Like, it's just an insane amount of nudity that you have to just keep negotiating. Like, hi, is this like necessary, or do you just want to see titties? Like, what?
Well,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. It's crazy that Emmy was doing as much as she was doing without being paid the same amount as Bill Macy.
Mm-hmm.
As much nudity as she was doing, I feel like she should have been compensated way more for that, because it just feels like, I mean, depending on how you feel about it, like as the actor or actress, like of course it's totally up to you, but I feel like it's a little bit too much of an invasion of like your own privacy to not be compensated extra for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like we have to see Bill Macy's wrinkly ass
So,
all the
like-
time, but we have to see Emmy's boobs, and then she didn't get paid as much as him. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
But let's continue, I
Let's
guess.
continue.
But yeah, so
Sheila's
Sheila.
very insecure about Frank being around Monica, and she tries to make sure that he'll be home for dinner because Sheila's just thinking like her and Frank got their little thing, and now we have Monica back in the picture, and she's scared that she's gonna lose him. Frank goes outside, and we see him being tailed by a car. Interesting. I wonder what that's gonna be about. Back inside the Gallagher house, Bob is super happy that they're leaving the house tomorrow. Fuck you, Bob. We don't like you. And fuck you, shameless writers, for making all these characters who fuck up everything for the Gallaghers people of color. I don't want to hate all these people of color, but you put this in the show, like, aren't V and Liam, but Cash and Bob can choke.
Yeah, like literally V and Liam are the only people of color in the show that are the ones that you're supposed to root for. Like, Cash is a pedophile piece of shit. Bob is an asshole trying to steal Liam. In later seasons, you get Caleb, who's an ass to Ian. Like,
Caleb, you get Nick, who was involved with Carl and the whole drug running thing. Nick's story was very sad, but like at the end of the day, you weren't supposed to root for him.
Yeah. And then the girl that Carl starts the date that like fucking fucks him over too.
Yeah, that girl, and then later in season 10, the girl from the chicken restaurant too.
With the Mexican family, yeah.
God.
Like, Shameless really do be hating on people of color.
Every person
yeah,
of
they
color
really
they
say
put in the
POC
show.
don't see them.
That's
well,
not
and it's so
V,
weird
her
for a
mom,
show.
or Liam.
It's like for a show about poverty to mistreat people of color so intensely.
Exactly. Like,
Make it make sense.
I feel like a lot of the time it's like we see like most like the alibi is morally like just normally just the same gross like trashy white people, and then we have to once we are introduced to the POC people, we're like yes, and then we learn their storylines and we're like no.
I will say, like, when we do get introduced to Trevor and we have this whole like other community in the shelter that we're introduced to, there are some really good characters in there.
Oh yeah. I think that was a really big step for Shameless to really include more of like the LGBT kind of side of things than just being like Mickey, Ian, gay, fuck in store. Like it was glad to like branch off from that. Oh, and I just forgot about the woman that Jimmy Steve married, whose dad was like a drug trafficker.
The Brazilian girl, yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about her.
She was like, she's a handful.
Yeah.
She was.
I kind of lived for her though. She's so dramatic all the time.
And on the sex scene thing too, like, sorry, while we were still talking about the sex scenes, I didn't bring up like, I understand early on in the series, Cam is too young and they couldn't do Ian and Mickey sex scenes and stuff. And like I don't mean it in a way to like fetishize the thing, but like the amount of straight sex scenes we have to see in the show. Like, this is the network that gave us Queer as Folk and the L Word. And you're telling me every one of Ian and Mickey's sex scenes is just a deleted scene that we have to wait for on a DVD? Like, what?
Not even just a deleted scene, like it just doesn't exist. It's just implied.
Yeah, we had that one like soft one with the daydream in like season 5 on the deleted scene.
That was deleted. It was deleted scene.
It's a deleted scene. We get
the season 10 scene that everybody rioted over. After Mickey gets out of prison, there's a scene where Ian is cleaning up his like head wound, and then they talk in the bedroom too.
Yes, yeah, me and Amanda were talking about that one.
Like, not even just the sex scenes, the soft scenes of them just like being a couple just get eliminated. Like, it just does make it make sense. I know it can't be the network. This is the network that did Queer as Folk in 2001.
Right.
I don't get.
It's insane to me. It is so insane to me that like Ian and Mickey are the couple that everybody says fucks the most. Like, every character in the show is like, oh, like they're always having sex, like they're fucking all the time. They even had a fucking like wedding cake topper where Mickey's
Literally.
burning. Which, first of all, that's also another thing that I did not appreciate about the whole show pivoting to comedy. I was kind of like, really? They're getting married after everything they've been through, and like the wedding cake. Like, everybody was kind of living for it.
I saw
but
that
like,
one as like a fuck you. I bet Mickey picked that because like, yeah, Dad. Yep, I do. Yup, I do. Like,
yeah,
that felt like
true.
a little bit of that.
But it just like, it's insane to me for all the characters to be like, oh yeah, they fuck the most. They're probably leaving to go fuck. Like, they have sex all the time. Their wedding cake was like them having sex. And we like never, ever see it. And they don't talk about it.
Never.
Make it make sense. Kevin V were literally fucking for like the first 2 episodes.
Literally.
All the time. Yeah.
The amount of shit, like the Kevin V, like remember when they did all like their web fucking like live porn things? They would be in all like their little get-ups and their little outfits and stuff like that. And then we had to see like Ian and Mickey grunting in a store shop. Like, bruh.
We had to see them when they were trying to get V's mom pregnant to be a surrogate. We had to see that too. So many like abandoned memories from my brain are just coming back right now.
So anyway, people of color and queer people get very mistreated on this show, and it's just something we have to live with. And we have to,
period. And women apparently. So
yeah.
Yep. All right, let's keep going. Monica says that she doesn't think they can leave, and that she couldn't take how heartbroken Lip looked, and that she doesn't think that they should take Liam anymore, and she thinks she can handle being a mother. She thinks that she can handle being a mother to them now that she's back. And Bob says that when she met Monica, she was like a beaten dog and convinces Monica that they have to leave and they have to take Liam. And we love a manipulative bitch. Mm-hmm. Never thought I'd see Happy Frank, but he comes bursting in the back door to take Monica to sign the settlement papers. And what does this part say?
Why are we talking about Frank's dick?
Why are we talking about Frank's dick? I don't want to talk about Frank's dick.
They get into an argument between like Bob's like, oh, well, I have the strap. And Frank is like, well, I have the real thing. And it's just like disgusting. He talks about how he's like a grower, not a shower. And I'm just like,
but I don't want to think about that.
We already had a whole episode about your balls. We don't need to talk about your dick now, too. Like,
Bob says that Monica isn't signing anything until Frank gets Lip, Fiona, and the kids on board with them taking Liam. Bob says that they couldn't be asking for a spouse support and half the settlement, and Frank agrees to get Fiona's blessing and asks where she is. She's next door. She moved in with Steve. And then Frank goes, who the fuck is Steve?
Good question. I only know Jimmy.
So Frank goes over to Fiona and Jimmy Steve's place. He knocks, no one answers, and then he notices that the car is still following him. He goes over and confronts Jasper, the spy he knows is following him, to prove that he's not actually injured and doesn't deserve a settlement. Do we know what this settlement that he's running from is? Is it like his leg or something?
No, it's
a workman's comp claim.
He's claiming disability. He's claiming migraines for something, I think they mentioned that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the settlement that he's actually trying to collect right now, I cannot remember how he got that.
I think they said the escalator...
the disability is something else.
Yeah. He's got so many lawsuits pending, just phony lawsuits.
Yeah,
and this guy's just trying to catch him
waiting. I love the way you wrote this over to ... school, because time isn't real and shameless.
School?
Ian and Mandy are sharing a cigarette in the bathroom, and Ian is asking how Mickey is and stuff since last episode he got shot. Mandy says then prison hospital, but she hasn't visited. Ian says neighborhood watch ladies offered to throw him a parade for shooting Mickey. I love that. Mandy said Cash better get the fuck out of town before her family fucks him up. And good, we don't care about Cash in this house.
I also like Jane. Sorry, I'm reading your note. I also like Jane Levy's Mandy. I enjoy Jane Levy. I think she's great.
She just embodied the character really nicely, and I did really love Emma as Mandy, but it kind of sucks to me because like she obviously had to leave because they wrote her character off, but her and Jeremy Allen White dated for a very long time and then broke up, and I assume that's why she doesn't want to come back. I don't know for sure, but also they just haven't written her character back in.
I mean, I know Jane Levy is booked and busy right now with Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, but they could always pull a Roseanne and just be like, what do you mean Becky's looked like that the entire time? And just bring Jane Levy back for season 11. They could do that.
Yeah, or anybody, honestly. But
But anyway, early season Mandy, with her knowledge, her just complete. I think she might have liked Ian too much to even see anything that was happening. She had too much of a crush on Ian. But
A complete badassery, though.
baby girl, it takes you so long to find out that your best friend and your fake boyfriend, or that your brother and your fake boyfriend have been fucking for years. Like, it has to be.
I will never get over the scene when Ian goes over and like him and Mandy are sitting on the couch and he's like, I'm gonna go use the bathroom, and she's like, you want pizza rolls? How long were him and Ian fucking for her to be able to put those pizza rolls in the oven, take them out and eat them and start a video game? Like, she didn't think anything was
15 minutes.
Like, she didn't think anything out of the ordinary why Ian was gone so long. And Mans comes back disheveled. When I say disheveled, disheveled.
And then Mickey comes back and just joins them like that's a normal thing.
He sits down, burps, and goes, "What's up, faggots?" or something like that. Or
yeah, but it's faggots. But like, it's so weird because it's like, oh, but Mickey's supposed to have this reputation of like never wanting to hang out with Mandy and Ian, and then he just like does.
He's like, video games.
Like, really? Mandy couldn't have just been like, I'm gonna have a brain real quick.
I'm gonna have a brain. All right, let's see. I love us. We keep getting
we talk too much about them.
We all know too much.
But yeah, Mandy says that Cash has to get out of town before her family or before Mickey gets out of jail and fucks him up herself. And like, I agree with that sentiment.
Agree. Lip comes into the bathroom and he and Mandy start to flirt a little bit. Then Lip says that him and Ian need to skip third period because they don't need to go to school. They don't need to be in school. When was the last time they were in school? We don't know. And then back to Canary Street. Tony is standing outside and outside of Fiona and Steve's house. There's Tony. We missed him. Where did he go?
Wait, when did they say that they lived on Canary Street?
I think that was me. I think it's actually on Canary Street. Like, I think that's where the house is in
that's
Chicago.
The real street. Yeah, because they give their address like multiple times as like South Wallace. Yeah. Street or road or whatever, so I didn't Google it, but like
from my memory, I just thought that the house was on Canary Street for some reason.
I would totally believe if the writers just like fucked it up though.
Yeah,
it was probably just like in the background when one of them are running down the street at some point, and people are like, "Oh,
yeah."
Fiona pulls up with V in Kev's truck and lets Tony know that Steve bought the house, and apparently Old Man Harris died in that house, and Tony is bigger. She just leaves Tony on the street, and V helps Fiona carry in a new couch into the house, and Frank is chilling in the house already when they get in.
So Frank straight up just broke in.
Yeah, he goes, no, he's so funny. He goes, you need new locks.
I love him.
But he says some cruel shit to Fiona in this scene.
Mm-hmm. Frank says that Fiona obviously doesn't care about what happened to Liam because she moved out, and then he said it's none of her business and that he's getting his money, and fuck you, Frank, you don't deserve any of that money. Fiona says that she thinks he's serious, and she's right. With Frank and the money shit is always serious. Frank storms over to the alibi, and Kev tells him Sheila is making him pot roast and that Jasper is around asking questions again. Jasper is the disability investigator who's trying to stop Frank. So that's who we know who's been tailing Frank throughout the episode so far.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, CJ, this comment.
This made me laugh really hard. So I'm definitely somebody who like looks for little details in scenes. This made me laugh really hard, but Frank sits down and Kev starts pouring him a beer out of the tap. Kev, who is a quote-unquote expert bartender, pours a beer that is almost entirely foam. Like the half of the glass is taken up by foam.
Are we gonna put that in the list of he's just doing it to be a bitch to Frank if the props department just doesn't know how to set up a keg, or Kev is just that dumb?
I really
think it could be all of the above.
Here's what I think. Well, because in other shots, it evens out a little bit more to be like how beers normally look. But I just really think they had Steve Howey pour a beer from a keg. He has no idea how to do it. He puts it down. It's half foam. And then in later shots, it's like corrected to be like less foam. But it's like, teach him how to pour a beer.
If he's going to be a bartender for 10 seasons, teach that man how to pour a beer.
I remember in later, sorry, this is another tangent we're going on. This is a weird episode. I like it.
It's the most
I remember-
chaotic, but it's really fun.
In later seasons, Steve Howey, Kev doesn't have that much of a storyline. And I remember I was watching like Sons of Anarchy at the time and a couple other shows, and Steve Howey just started appearing in all of these other shows. And then after that season was over, suddenly Kev had a huge storyline. And my dad and I
He was
had a
booked
theory.
and busy.
My dad and I had a theory that he was shopping around at other shows, going like, "Give me a better storyline, or I'm fucking leaving."
He guest starred on Workaholics.
Oh, did he?
In the episode where Adam's grandpa dies, the one with Jack Black, and he plays Adam's cousin who works at Medieval Times breakfast tournament, Medieval Times like dinner tournament.
Yeah.
Live action. He's the Blue Knight. And then later he also worked with the Workaholics guys on Game Over Man. Which I don't know if you guys have seen this movie. It's basically like a hotel gets taken over by terrorists. He's one of the like terrorists, quote unquote, like just plays like a gay I won't say like soldier, but he has a very big role in that movie. All right.
But anyway, Kev is a shitty bartender.
Kev's a shitty bartender, doesn't know how to pour beer. Frank says that Monica looked beautiful and that Sheila's mouth herpes. First of all, rude.
But
that's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And Monica's his soulmate. We go over to V's house where she and Fiona are looking up how they can override parental rights to Liam. Fiona says that she could have done this when she turned 18, which sucks. But also, how old is Fiona? We will never know.
Allegedly, she's 22.
Allegedly.
Math-wise, she's probably like 19, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. We find out that Frank one time locked Debbie and Carl in a car at Indian Bingo. I love how they just drop these things on us and then scene change.
Yeah.
Over to Lip and Ian in a car Lip borrowed from Steve. Ian tells Lip not to let Fiona find out that he's stealing cars with Steve, and then we get a brother check-in time. So we love our Ian and Lip heart-to-heart moments when they just talk about everything.
Can I?
Go ahead.
So Ian, like they literally have not had a chance to sit down and talk this whole season, and Lip can sense something is up with Ian, and Ian's like, okay, so Mickey's gay and we're doing it. Cash shot Mickey because of me, but Mickey would rather go to juvie than admit he's gay, so I'm doing both Cash and Mickey. Well, not so much Cash lately, but when Cash and me were hot and heavy, Linda found out about it and she's blackmailing Cash into having another kid. And Lip just looks at him like...
Wig.
Lip's just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, he does not know how to process.
Takes it all in stride, though. Good for him. He's literally like, all right.
Yeah.
He's just happy he ain't fucking Cash anymore. That's what he's happy about.
I love your little note. Precious baby was dealing with this all on his own. He never wants to be a burden, so take everything out on himself. Poor baby.
That's just middle child syndrome.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
I hate being the middle child.
I'm also the middle child.
Me too.
I'm in the middle of 6 or 7, I think. I have 6 siblings, so I'm in the middle of 7.
I'm the baby on one side, and then I'm the middle on the other side. Because my mom has kids, and then my dad has kids.
I'm the middle of both. Both my step siblings and my blood siblings. I'm both the middle.
Damn, double trouble.
I'm the middle of 3.
I know. And that's why I'm
sitting here.
That's why I'm sitting here recording a shameless podcast.
And that's why we're all here today.
I filled all my time with TV. So
shameless is for middle children. That's all.
Literally. All right. So we see Monica and Bob carry Liam out of the house before Lip and Ian can follow them. Ian says he's gonna go see Mickey in jail today, and Lip gets a little smile on his face because he knows Ian got it bad. And Lip knows many things. I love how just from this, Lip doesn't really say much, but you can tell he definitely feels for his brother, and that he also isn't a homophobic asshole. So because he's yeah, good for you.
He took that first episode to adjust to the news. But I think even with some shitty things he says in later seasons, Lip always knew that Mickey was the one. Lip knew, I think, from this moment when Ian's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go visit him in prison." Lip's like, "Oh fuck, you got it bad."
Literally, because he knows that Ian can have anybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Over to Fiona and V in the lawyer's office, asking what she has to do to adopt Levin and possibly the other kids. The lawyer says that she needs to prove that Frank and Monica's incompetence. And we get a timestamp. Monica has been gone for 21 and a half months, and Liam was 2 months old when she left. So Liam is about to be 2 years old. But that kid does not look 2 years old. He looks like a baby.
Well, he can't even talk.
Yeah.
He can't talk or walk. They just carry him everywhere.
And then
So,
and then
like,
here's your math notes. Here's your math notes. So 21 months. She mentioned earlier that she was about 18 when Monica left, and then so Fiona's only 19 or 20 in the season, but she has outright said that she's older. But I don't know. I understand how timelines and stuff in TV shows can be very overwhelming to like put back and forth. But like I feel like with this show with so many characters, I feel like they should have had a structure down. Like, okay, she left when this time,
they
and
should
then
have
she
just
came
kept
back
notes.
this time.
This would have been such an easy problem to solve. Like all of these problems, like Ian being like 16 for a while, and Debbie supposedly was born in December, October, and July. Because they mentioned that her birthday's in December. And then Monica's like, Debbie, what do you want to do for your birthday? And Debbie's like, oh, well, October's not for a while. And then remember that weird virginity poster that she had? She marked her birthday down as July. And I feel like this all could have really been solved with just a whiteboard on the wall. that they just kept character details on. Like it's so
they
easy.
literally could like that. Even that, if they just would have given each character a year they were born and a month, not even a date, I feel like all of those things would have been so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, one timeline on one wall. That's all we needed. One timeline
It
on
also,
one
yeah,
wall.
it also got weird after season 5 because like they claimed that it was only a couple months after season 5, but obviously like it took place a year later in real time.
And the
so
pregnancies,
it was still like 2017 then, but it was actually 2018 or something like that, and it was just bizarre.
The pregnancies that they have on this show, like I can't.
I pretend I do not see it.
I can't pretend I
No
do
babies are real on Shameless.
Like Svetlana got pregnant with Yiv and had Yiv in the time that it took for Kevin V to decide to impregnate their mom and for V to get pregnant, and then for them to have a full pregnancy, and then they had their babies at like the same time. Like none of that made any sense. Whatever. Anyway.
Who first? Does V's mom have the baby first?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then so is Yevgeny born after those babies?
Yevgeny is born in season
They're born
4.
right around the same time. Season 4, but like it was 408 or 9 because it was after like they spent the night at the club. It was 407, 8 or 9, like around that time.
Yevgeny was born the morning of 408.
Whatever.
Anyway, we're in the lawyer's office.
Anyways, we're at the lawyer's office, and the lawyer reads the Fiona's file and to see how incompetent Frank and Monica are. Fiona learns that she doesn't earn enough money to support them, and the best case scenario, Fiona has to fight it out in court with Frank while the kids get placed in foster care. Cut away to Bob and Monica picking up paternity results. And guess what, everyone? Fucking Liam is Frank's kid. What are the odds? Monica thought she was pregnant while she did E with a bouncer. And Bob tries to game the system, says that they need to go make a deal with Frank to get him to sign over the paternal rights so Fiona can stop picking Liam. Like, it just makes no sense. Like, you literally just got the DNA results. How much more are you able to fight the system in that sense?
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's Bob and Monica and they're trying to remove one of their kids from the kids' like family. Because I feel like a lot, like, even though like CPS isn't the best in the world, like they have their flaws, but I feel like more than not they try not to take one kid away from a large group.
They try to keep them together, or at least pair them off.
Yeah, also like what is their frame of thinking? Like Monica's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have him sign over rights so that when they take me to court, it can be like, no, I'm going to take this child because he is mine. Yes, I am abandoning my other 5, but I'm going to be taking this one.
That's what I was saying. Fiona can still claim incompetence, which is what she was trying to do in the first place. She was going to try to get custody of all the kids, not just Liam, by claiming incompetence for both parents. She can still claim incompetence for Monica.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah. We go outside and hear Bob ranting about not letting Frank take her son away from her, and bitch, who are you? Bob has no relation to any of his family, and she sees this one little black baby and she's like, that's mine.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Lip and Ian observe this from where they are sat outside and notices that she does not look happy. They go into the office and they talk to the receptionist. And what is Lip doing? I wonder. But then from that, we jump away to Carl in the backyard making a bike ramp out of plywood. Like Carl, we love our daredevil.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Just unsupervised, making a bike ramp.
Yeah. Why not put another freaking action figure in the microwave or a fish? Over to Frank walking back to the house, and Jasper is tailing him as always, and he confronts Jasper. And he says that he's not going to get he's going to get the 1,000 for providing that Frank is faking his disability. And Frank moons Jasper, and then we get into the Gallagher house. We love Frank, but more.
No, we
I
don't.
really did not have fun.
No, we
I
don't.
watched it. I was like, no.
It's
don't
a
like it.
small, little wrinkly butt. He lies and said he talked to Fiona and everything is good. Then he takes the beers out of the fridge and some snacks and then just camps out. Like, just because Frank thinks he can just steal all their food whenever he wants. Back to the unsupervised demon child that is Carl Gallagher. I love that. Carl gets on his bike and his homemade ramp and falls off of that shit so hard. Then calmly walks up to the house and tells Frank that his arm's broken. Like, that injury, like, that's nothing you can just casually walk away from. The amount of people I've known that have broken their arm and saying that's the most excruciating pain they have ever been in. And Carl's just like, I think I broke my arm.
Well, yeah, I've never broken my arm. I've never broken a bone, except I've broken my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of like chill about it. I was at volleyball practice and I broke my thumb, and I just kind of like walked up to my coach and I was like, "Can I go to the trainer?"
But like Carl full up snaps his arm and just walks in and was like, I think I broke my arm. Like, bitch, what? Yell.
Like, casually. And then Frank just ignores him, then punches him in the arm, and then we get Carl reaction injured, and then tells him to go get his bike.
I wonder what he could be hatching.
Then I think you wrote a note saying that you think Ethan actually broke his arm.
Well, because I know in season 5 when he broke his leg, they wrote Carl to have a broken leg, and they did the same with
Cam.
Cam. But I think, doesn't Carl break his wrist later too?
Probably.
Or something. Somebody breaks their wrist, but
I think you're definitely right. I'm not sure who though.
Of any
but
actor,
I don't know if Ethan actually had a broken arm during this time, because I don't know if the cast like stays on in future episodes, because that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time when they write in like a broken bone just for like a plot point, they take the cast off like very quickly.
Yeah.
They don't really keep it in for continuity, but if the actor actually broke a bone, then they like
and we don't
keep
have
it
time
on.
to
So
get
I
into
don't
all
know.
the more interesting ways they could have broken Ian's leg in season 10 without that
Let's
argument. We don't have
let's
time
not
for
get
that
into it, 'cause,
conversation.
like, I get too angry.
Anyway.
That's sad.
I forget who I was talking to this about, but the fact that Mickey pushed him down the fucking
He punched him in the
courthouse.
face and Ian fell down the stairs. And I was like, I thought we were past this.
I thought we were past the domestic abuse.
Exactly.
Like, I guess not. He literally, here's the thing, they could have just had Mickey run away, Ian chase him, and fall down the stairs.
Exactly.
It was that easy.
Exactly.
It was that easy.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Carl
the
broke his
amount
arm.
of times we just go anyways.
Editing this is gonna be fun.
This is a good episode.
Better have back. This is gonna be fun.
Yes, you're more than welcome back, please.
Yes.
Coming up on the living room side of the stairs, we have Lip and Ian. They apparently know that Liam is Frank's child, and they got paternity tests of their own when they were stalking Monica and Bob, and they decided that they were going to take their own to find out and see if Frank is actually their dad. They said they can find out a lot from these tests, like who got the alcoholic gene from Frank or the dummy gene from Monica. And again, let's not assume the writers had plans for this, because ouchies,
Big
that
ouch.
fucking hurts.
Big ouch.
Ian manifested that one.
Like
Ian was like, I'm manifesting. I am not Frank's child, and also I have bipolar disorder, and then it happened.
Like, out of all of the characters that had that conversation and to bring up those two qualities of those personalities, and for those, it just hurts. It hurts.
Yeah, big ouch on that one. No.
Ian manifested. I hate you.
He
That's
manifested.
so
he said 369 method.
But we do end it on a cute, or if any of us are gonna turn out to be gay, and Lip high fives Ian for that one. We love brothers. Back to Frank, ew. Walking outside, down from the street as Jasper follows him, and for some reason Frank just starts running. And then Carl comes out of nowhere and lets Jasper hit him with his car and makes Jasper believe that he broke Carl's arm. We love smart men, even though I'm surprised that Carl didn't get any more damage than just more damage to his broken arm.
Like, I made a note, this is
He probably
obviously a
did.
horrible thing to do to your kid. It's obviously about, don't actually ever do this to your kid. However, it's not a bad idea. Like,
It's not a bad idea.
it got him off, it got Jasper off his back, and Jasper probably paid for Carl's cast. It's not the worst idea Frank's ever had.
Not the best, but they are pretty creative. And of course, knowing Carl, he was just like, sure. Like, you're given the two people who have no boundaries to do crazy shit, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
They always have like the best moments when they pair those two up.
Yeah.
When they pair Carl and Frank up.
All right. But speaking of bad things, we're back at the Jacksons' house while Karen's dad says that the pot roast smells good, and then Sheila's like, not for you. Karen comes in and gets into her dress for the stupid purity ball or whatever. And as much as I hate this storyline, I feel so bad. I feel so bad for her. She literally is the only reason she's doing this for this car, but like her dad has so many other ideas, and it just like it hurts.
And you can see in her eyes, like, this is a girl with daddy issues. And like for the first time ever, her dad seems proud of her, and it seems like they're having a connection, and they're like, and like it feels like it stopped being a joke for her in this scene where she's just like is genuinely happy to be spending time with her dad, and like, oh
yeah,
honey.
the little montage we get of them taking photos, she starts out as just like acting, like pretending to be close to her dad, but then it like really melts into like she's actually excited, not like excited, but actually feels like she's becoming closer to her dad, which is just devastating.
Like, even though like as much as like she's not like wanting to be like a born again Christian, she's like excited to like more so have a relationship with her dad, and she's also expecting a car out of this, and like she's already doing fuck shit, but like she's doing what she can because of the scenario she's in.
Yeah.
And like, man, as like you said, she got the daddy issues, the biggest daddy issues in the world, and the fact that her dad actually wants to show her some affection and like actually go out of his way for her, even though maybe his plans aren't up to standard as nice as they would be. It hurts because this is just I think this is like almost like this is the downfall of Karen from this scene.
Yeah.
It's just the pivotal
Yeah,
downfall.
I think this is really when her descent started, even up until season 5. Like this is just really when everything really started to go downhill for her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even Sheila thinks it's sweet, and she's like, you know what? Fine.
She's so excited, just like taking photos of them on her little digital camera, and she's like hyping them both up. And she's like, "You look beautiful," and I'm like, "She does." The show. I love this note. The show insists on cutting between Sheila scenes and Mickey scenes, and that's the way to say thank you. Thanks for the good ass food.
Thanks for the good food.
So is this a prison or is this a juvie? Because Mickey
it's
is
juvie.
like
it's juvie.
It's juvie.
Well, they said he's in jail awaiting sentencing. So I think he's in like actual jail, and then they're going to sentence him to juvie later. I don't think this is where he was.
Is he supposed to be like 18 at this point?
Because he goes to juvie again.
No, because juvie is for minors, but
and he goes to juvie again in season 2.
Oh yeah, I remember that part.
Well, no, it's the end of season 1 to the. Oh yeah, he gets back into juvie. Mickey's age is also always hotly debated.
Yeah.
But
because I feel like I'm not even sure like what they said, like what his charges are. Is it mostly just robbing and then self-defense is why?
Probably attempted robbery, and then they chalked Cash's up to self-defense.
Yeah, I think Cash probably said
robbery, assault, maybe.
Cash probably said he tried to steal from me, so I shot him. He probably didn't say he was fucking my 15-year-old boyfriend, so I shot him. But
well, that was the thing, was that Mickey like is just gonna take the charges because he doesn't want to be like, no, the real reason he shot me is because he got mad at me because I was having sex with somebody he was involved with who was also a minor.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't gonna say that because he's not out, and he won't be out for a very long time, but Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is
Yep.
just sad. Anyways,
we're at prison and Mickey hobbles in on his little crutches to the visitor booth. And he's like super sweet and thanks Ian for putting money in his commissary. But then we find out that Ian just made Cash do it. But like, anyways, give money to Mickey. We love it.
I stand a man with brains.
Yeah.
And Mickey gets a little smirk on his face, appreciating that he continued to steal from that man. Ian's so soft in this scene, and I love it because Mickey's not having any of it. It makes this scene so much like funnier to me. Ian asks how long Mickey will be in, and Mickey says maybe less than a year on good behavior. And Ian says that he'll miss Mickey, and Mickey says, "Say that again, and I'll rip your fucking tongue out of your head." And Ian blushes. Like the how much he's in love with this man, I could never.
And Mickey blushes too, like they're flirting.
They're
Well, yeah,
flirting.
because they sort of established that like rapport with each other, because literally the first time they hooked up, he said, "Kiss me again, and I'll cut your tongue out of your mouth," or
Kiss me and I'll
something
cut
like
your fucking
that.
tongue
Whatever
out.
he
Yeah.
said.
Oh, it was like try to kiss me and I'll cut your fucking tongue out, because it's like when they're leaving the bedroom or whatever.
Yeah, but then they end up hooking up again. So obviously Ian's like, okay, when he says that stuff, like he doesn't really mean it.
But also I feel like I've felt this a lot in like not just like fan fictions, but like in other shows and stuff like that, is that I understand why they didn't kiss like for legal reasons, in the sense because like Cam was so young and Noel was so old. But there was a lot of things, is that a lot of people like define kissing as more intimate than actual intercourse and sex. So that could have
Yeah,
been a
that
thing
was-
with Mickey, because it makes it seem more real and more personable, I guess, with kissing. So I
That
think
was
that's
the whole
another thing with it.
justification. And also, like, apparently they didn't have sex like face to face until season 2.
Yeah.
Oh damn, yeah. Because
So-
we get the first on-screen Mickey and Ian kiss when they're robbing fucking Jimmy Steve Dad's house. Yeah, and then Mickey gets shot in the butt.
that bitch from Drake and Josh shows up
Stop.
and is like rifle time.
Rifle time.
Ugh.
And then my favorite part of this scene ever, when Ian puts his hand on the glass and Mickey's just like looking when he's like, take your hand off the fucking glass. And it's just these little blushing. I love them.
And that was an improvised moment.
I had no idea that was improv.
Yes.
I had
Some
no
of
idea.
Most of
That's
your
insane.
favorite Ian and Mickey moments have been improv from like
Well, yeah, I knew
Kevin
about,
Knowles' power.
yeah. Like
yeah,
the
truly.
flask in season 4 in Emily.
I knew about that.
Yeah.
I knew about like the head kiss that was improv. It was their last take of the night, and they improvised that and they kept it in.
Yeah.
A lot of their other stuff has probably been improvised too.
Which head kiss? The one after they beat
The
up
bar
Terry?
fight.
The
Yeah.
bar fight with Terry. Gotcha. Oh, that part. Those boys were so bloody and gross looking. I couldn't.
And the hug.
You know I'm coming back for 411.
The hug in the police station in season 5 also improvised. Like
I didn't know that.
yes.
That hug is just a different level of emotions for me. It's
Anyway.
Anyway.
In this moment, they're innocent.
We are
and they're
getting too
cute.
distracted.
They're innocent.
This
and they're cute
episode
and
should
they're
just be
flirting.
called Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Over to Steve, who's zooming down the street. What we have to assume is a stolen car, because we've seen this man in a motorcycle and like 15 different cars so far, so we don't know what he drives. And we see a police car following him, and oh, who could it be? Connor, your fucking parentheses. Chicago's only cop, maybe. And that's right. Tony pulls him over and congratulates Steve on the new house and says that Fiona is a good girl and drive carefully. You don't want to get hurt down here. And not gonna lie, you don't like Tony? I like Tony.
I do not like Tony. I do not like Tony. I think
I like Tony when he came back. I didn't like him in season 1.
Because Tony's
Baseball
such
Tony.
Tony's such a nice
Baseball
guy.
Tony.
Tony's such a quote unquote nice guy. He's like he's Ross Geller. He's why don't you like me? Well, because you're annoying. That's why I don't like you. Like
he's a sim for Fiona.
And it's like he's like staking this claim over Fiona, and that's why he's so like he's a cop and he suspects like Steve of doing shady shit, but also you're just being creepy, and I don't like it. Not a fan.
It was compulsory heterosexuality.
Yeah.
It's in the past.
It's in the past. We don't.
It's in the past. I pretend I do not see it.
Back to the Jackson house, and Sheila is asking questions about the purity ball. Father-daughter promise rings, and chastity prayers. Exciting, yes. Sheila asks if they have balls for young men. He says, "Why would they?"
And Karen and Sheila have a little look. It's very cute. Karen's like, "Yeah, Mom, thank you for asking that question."
Thanks. Sheila takes their pictures, and then they go off to the purity ball. And then jump cut, we're over at the alibi with Frank celebrating getting Jasper off his back. Kev says that if Frank dies, he's gonna go into his funeral and sing a song that goes, "I got money coming." Season 1, Kev, you're totally correct. He's so good. He just doesn't give a fuck. He just like he's involved in everything and just has like one word to say about the situation, and then like that's all we need to know from him.
He's here to be a good foster dad and get pegged. That's it. That's what he's here for.
And then Fiona, Lip, Carl, and Debbie come storming into the alibi saying that Carl's okay and they were able to reset his arm. So I'm guessing that means that Frank didn't even take him to the hospital. He just got Carl hit, dropped them back off of the house, and then made everyone else deal with him getting to the hospital.
That's literally what happened.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm accepting that Ian isn't there because he's probably on his way from visiting his man. Frank complains that Monica hasn't signed the settlement papers and find out that Liam is really his. We thought that there was a rumor about Nana Gallagher having an affair with that saxophone player. And I love that. It's like, is that how genetics work? It's like, does that mean that his dad was the child of a black man and that he carries the recessive gene? Like, is that what we're like? The whole concept of this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Gallagher had an affair with. I guess Nana Gallagher had an affair with a black man and then had a baby that didn't look black, but now has a recessive gene that Frank carries.
Yeah, that's the thing that always confused me because it was like, well, okay, so, I understand that like being mixed race comes in all shades, but it's like, okay, so Nana Gallagher had a son that, let's see, so the son would be Frank, right?
Or Frank's dad. Nana Gallagher, assuming it's his grandma.
Who was half black but is white passing. Then Frank's dad had a son with a white woman, so Frank is 1/4 black but still white passing. And then Frank has a son with a white woman who is 1/8 black but looks fully black.
Sure.
All right. Shameless.
Okay.
Let's pretend that's how that works.
Well, I mean, I'm not a geneticist,
we're not geneticists,
but
we don't know.
Like, it doesn't seem right to me.
Yep.
Anyway.
Fiona makes Frank promise that he won't sign over the parental rights, and even Frank doesn't think Monica is serious about taking Liam. But even if she does take Liam, he'll be back. Like knowing Monica, like it's not like that's the last time they would see Liam if she does theoretically take him in this scenario. Fiona begs him not to sign over rights and says that Lip says that he has to walk away right now before he fucking hits Frank. And then you know what? Let's fucking deck him. Let's rock the shit out of this old man.
Yeah.
And then I love the note, glad when you're friends with the bartender and he won't kick you out for hitting someone in the bar. Thanks, Kev. Fiona says that if Frank gives up Liam, then she is gone forever. And Frank said that she will never leave because she loves the kids too much. And like, that's right. But also, fuck you, Frank, because does this man not remember that these children are also his children at this point? Frank just goes at his own speed.
Yeah.
We go over to the purity ball and we hear some stupid Christian sex-hating women oppression sexist bullshit. One girl says that she was assaulted and that if she didn't touch his dick that she was going to get hit with a pipe, and her dad calls her a slave to the flesh. This whole scene just makes me really hurt and really upset. Like, why do we think assaulting women is funny? Like, why did that just need to be like a hee-hee hoo-hoo thrown in there?
I don't know if it was meant to be funny. I think that they were really trying to be like, look at how fucked up this is. What was funny was that like everybody's like having these normal experiences with sex and having to share them as if there's something shameful, and then Karen stands up and is like, here are all my craziest stories that I am not ashamed of at all.
Yeah. All right, so jump from purity ball back to a family meeting at the Fiona and Steve's house, and they're talking about their legal options to keep Liam there. And guess who's actually in a family meeting? It's Ian. Lip comes in and says Monica wants them to come to dinner for a family meeting, and Fiona asks for pot so she won't commit a felony. Lip points out that Fiona called Monica mom, and that was weird. And then I'm gonna read your comment. A cute little detail in the scene: the family dynamic of them is passing the blunt around, all swatting Carl's hand away.
It happens a couple of times. They're passing the blunt from person to person, and Carl reaches for it every time, and they all smack his hand away.
And that reminds
I
me of the
love them.
moment in season 10 where they're all sitting in the kitchen planning the Gallagher wedding, and Carl keeps
And they all
going and
take the
getting a
beer from
beer,
Carl.
and everyone keeps taking a beer. That's why season 10, the finale of season 10, felt so season 1 to me, and it's moments like that.
It was amazing because everybody, like, that's the thing that I really missed about Shameless post season 5, was that everybody was like together in that episode. It felt like after season 5, like everybody was always off doing their own thing, and it makes sense because they're older and they're not in the house together anymore, and there's like not one like real adult in the house. But like they never even spend time together or communicate with each other in the newer seasons, like ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
And it just like I miss it.
Yeah. But I do love little details like that, swatting Carl's hand away from the joint. That's great.
And then back to the purity ball, and oh no, it's Karen's turn. She gets up and tries to be vague to get through it, but it's the fucking leader of the ball pushes her, and so Karen is honest, just because that's what you're expected to do at a purity ball. And baby girl started having oral sex at 13. She had sex in 8th grade and admitted to experiencing with men and women. And apparently, Mindy in the shower with a big strap-on dildo was the bridge too far. And then her dad, in the middle of front of all these people, stands up and go, "Whores don't get cars." You bring your daughter into this scenario and want her to confess to her sins, and you do that, and then you treat her like this.
I think it was that, but it was also just her
The way she was talking
the way
about
she was
it.
talking about it, she was proud of it, and like for good for her.
Yeah.
But like I think just when he saw that she was like proud of it, he was like, "You whore!
Yeah.
Whores don't get cars." And then we leave from that terrible moment back to the Gallagher house where Monica is serving burnt ass lasagna and said that it's Ian's favorite, but he can't even identify it. Bob tries to start in on the Liam thing, but Monica smooths it over, and Frank comes in for the free food, obviously. Fiona says that they don't want to hear about them taking Liam. Lip comes in with his paternity results for him and Ian, and then it turns out that Ian is not freaking Frank's son. And then everyone just looks super shocked and surprised, and especially Frank. Like, I'm surprised that he actually seemed like he was fairly bothered by it, because from this episode where he doesn't give a shit that he's about to lose one of his kids, but then he finds out that one of his not his kids, and he's like actually like hurt by it. Like, make up your mind.
I also think that Frank, other than like Carl and Debbie in the early seasons, Frank has like the most of a friendly connection with Ian. That's what I think. Like the one time that I can really think that Frank like did something super shitty to Ian in the early seasons was when he punched him in the second episode.
Yeah.
But like other than that, most of their interactions are like actually pretty casual.
Mm-hmm.
When I feel like Frank genuinely gets angry at Lip and Fiona and sometimes Debbie and Carl. But like that's such a serve of Ian to not be Frank's son.
Maybe that's such like a thing why like it, in the sense that Ian is so much like Monica, it would almost make sense why Frank has like a little more of a, not connection, but I think more like feelings with towards Ian or whatever, because like
Yeah.
of that stuff, even though it wasn't known until way later in the seasons. I feel like it was just kind of like that unspoken thing that he just like maybe reminded him of Monica in a sense.
Yeah, and Ian is like the only child who continues to call Frank dad, despite being the only one who is not Frank's son.
Mm-hmm.
But in later seasons, he really gives no shits about Frank at all. He gives no fucks at all.
And then we're back at Sheila's house, and Karen comes storming in, and she's screaming and sobbing, and Sheila's just like overwhelmed and worried because she has no idea what the hell just happened. Karen runs down to the basement and starts trashing all of her dad's stuff, screaming that she has made me think he loved me, and like that, like the scene hurts so bad. She's in so much distress and she's so sad, and then she just starts break down crying in Sheila's arms, and they just have like such a moment to herself. Like, I don't feel like we've really seen her and Sheila both that vulnerable ever, and for that to be the reason why, just like, I feel like it's another level of heartbreak. And then we're back from the dinner. We're back to the dinner, our favorite dinner. Monica says that she doesn't know who Ian's dad is. Oh, we love to hear it. And apparently Ian was conceived in the summer of 95, which makes him about a year younger than Amanda in this scenario, because I think his birthday's in May. So that means by season 11, he should have been 24, 25, which we'll see if that's true because age isn't relevant in Shameless anymore.
Yeah, so Mickey supposedly turned 26 like on August 10th, like a couple of days ago. And supposedly Ian was born on May 9th and is 23 in season 10. But then he was also 16 for like 2 or 3 seasons. And everybody else aged like a year. Like everybody else just grew a year older, even though the seasons don't line up because season 2 is summer. Well, season 2 summer, season 3 is summer to winter. Season 4 is like almost entirely winter. Like nothing really makes sense.
I know, like we have we have like 3 winter seasons in a row, and I'm like, where's the sun? Like, how are you guys always cold? And like in the sense of this, like, do we take this as the writers just didn't really put in the factor how old they should be, or just like they just let it the rock and roll, and then they were like, and age will be important for the storyline when it's needed.
Well, the seasons changing like probably makes it a little confusing. Yeah, maybe, but
again,
whatever.
A timeline on a whiteboard. That's all.
All we needed was a whiteboard that stuck to the wall. That was it. That's all we needed.
Ian
just
says,
a piece of paper.
Literally. Ian says that the results say that Ian's dad is probably one of Frank's brothers, and Monica honestly doesn't know. So apparently she fucked all of his brothers. And so we know that Frank has a twin brother and then two other brothers.
Yeah. So a twin. Patrick is their cousin, isn't he? Yeah, Patrick's their cousin. Okay, so he has a twin. He has Clayton, and then he has the one that sells smoked sausage and cigarettes out of the back of the truck.
Yeah.
That they mentioned.
Frank is more angry that in the summer of 95, Monica did PCP without him than actually knowing that he was the one that conceived his child with her. And then we get a quote that says, "How can we get back together now, you delusional idiot?" And apparently Bob and Monica are getting married. We love to see it. I don't even think, was gay marriage even legal?
No, only in a few states.
And yeah, but they didn't live in Illinois. They probably would have just gone to a different state.
Yeah, makes sense. And Carl's confused how 2 women can get married. The homophobia from everyone here is so spicy. Your comment. Frank asks, what is it that she's gonna leave me again to deal with 6 kids? And Fiona's like, leave you? Exactly. Like Frank hasn't been here at all. It's been the Fiona show for the last 2 years. And Monica said that Frank treated her like a dog and he kisses her because we love solving all our problems with making out with our lesbian significant other.
But she's not even. Well, I would consider Monica to be bisexual because then like later in season 5 she has another male partner. Mm-hmm. Honestly,
I categorize Monica as a mess. Like, she's a bi mess or
gender,
a pan
sexuality,
mess. She's just a mess.
She's just like, whatever happens, happens.
Bob insists again that she and Monica are taking Liam, and Lips says absolutely fucking not. And Frank is surprised that Monica wants a divorce. Monica says that she and Bob deserve a family of their own, and Fiona literally is just like, you still have one. Like, you have one that you could fix or be with. And Monica's really hung up on the fact that she didn't leave, but Frank drove her away. And she goes, you have no idea what it's like being married to him. You have no idea how bad it is. Like, bitch, these kids have lived with him just as much as you have been involved with him too. They understand what man they're dealing with and what they can. Makes me so frustrated. Fiona stands up and puts an end to it, saying that it's not their fault that Frank is an asshole and that she needs to leave Liam, take Bob, and get the truck and never come back. And Fiona's 100% correct. They have no audacity to just walk up in here, play house for a couple days, and then decide they can tear everything apart with all this new information.
I understand how she can say, like, he drove me out, like I had to leave. It was a bad environment for me. Like, I understand that, but she absolutely could have just kicked Frank out and kept the kids if that's what she really wanted.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, the law would have been on her side, pretty sure.
But who was putting anything on the table for them before Monica even went away? Was Monica actually being the mother role? Like, because Fiona,
I don't think she worked. I don't think she really did anything. I think her and Frank ran like insurance fraud and stuff like that, and Fiona was the only one who like actually worked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now Ian's the only one with a consistent full-time job.
Yes. Or
Same.
jobs, I guess, because she definitely worked multiple jobs, but maybe hopped around from place to place.
Yeah.
Consistently worked, though.
And then after all of them with their anger dispute, all the kids get up from the table and leave.
I want to read this note. Wait, read your note.
I just want to say, like, rest in peace to Ian, because he just found out that he's a bastard child and he can't go run to his boyfriend. Like, that's so sad. Like, literally, Monica showed up in town and Ian was like, okay, I have to go have sex now. But like, he found out that his entire life is a lie and he can't go see Mickey. Like, that is so sad.
The kid can't win.
Oh.
Especially in this episode.
He cannot win. Ever.
Back to the saddest house of all, the Jackson house. Sheila confronts fucking the horrible man he is and gets mad and kicks him in the ass. And go Sheila. She fucking deserves to have this authority. And she basically like forces him out of the house, and she leaves the house without thinking, and she follows him out to the car and screams, "Don't ever come back." She's out of the house! Get his ass! Get his ass! Get his
Fuck
ass!
yeah.
Get this
His ass.
bitch
I'm
out!
proud of her.
Fuck yeah on Joan Cusack in this scene, too. She just goes feral. She goes feral in this scene.
She's like slamming on the car as he drives away too, and still is like standing in the road screaming at him. And then as she's kicking him out, Frank's just la-di-da-di walking on the street, and Sheila asks if Frank saw what Eddie did, but Frank just looks at her and goes, "You're out of the house." And she didn't even notice, and she's just like, "What?" I'm so happy for her. She deserves all of that in the world.
Frank be like, here for dinner.
Here for dinner. And then we go back to Fiona and Steve's place, and the kids are all gathered, spying out the window at what Bob and Monica are doing. And apparently they left Liam in the house with them. Like what? Like what? They're so adamant of them not wanting them to take him that they all just left Liam with them. Like, okay, shameless. And the kids see Monica and Bob come out of the house, and they all rush outside and stand on the sidewalk as they're loading up Bob's big old truck. Monica is holding Liam, and she looks at the family and walks over. And like during the scene, it's like like you can tell all the raw emotions on everyone's faces, like all the kids and especially Fiona's, because you don't know what's about to happen. And it's so quiet, and like there's like this really nice like instrumental or song going on, and like it looks like Monica's about to walk into the truck, but then she just turns around and that bitch is sobbing, and she just like walks over, and everyone just like looks at her, and then she just hands Liam to Fiona, and all of them are just like so shocked. And like I feel like that it was such a big moment, and like it like hurt in a sense because like of obviously what they've been dealing with for like the 2 last episodes, but like the fact that in the end Monica turned around and literally gave Liam back to them, like that really says something.
Yeah, the imagery of this episode, the end of this episode is really powerful. Like, it's cold outside, they're all crying, the breath is like fogging up the air, like just definitely just really powerful setting.
Mm-hmm.
And Chloe,
and like I like this note. You want to read your note about it?
Oh, what? The Chloe? Yeah, Chloe has power. Like her and Emmy's fucking ugly cry faces are just Chloe Webb's ugly cry face. I could stare at it all day. It's so good. Because it's exactly what happens when you, like, just have lost control of your body and need to sob. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna look like this while I just lose my mind. And it's A+. It's so good.
She brings the best out of everyone around her. Like, she really creates a scene for herself. And, like, the way everyone just plays off of each other. And, like, it seems more genuine than, like, anything ever. Like, especially
she steals the show every time she's there.
Especially in this show, when she's in the room, she's the focus point, and like everyone is just like basically like bouncing off of like her character's energy. And it then cut to credits, and then that's the end of the episode. And then we get an after credit sequence of Frank is signing the settlement papers with an Asian woman he hired to be Monica, and the clerk calls bullshit and sends him away. And of course, Frank's scams never work, and God forbid we end on a dramatic moment. They always gotta add that one little thing in there. Like, yeah, you just had like a really sincere moment, but here's some more fuck shit, so it's not that deep anymore.
Yeah.
I love your note, your shout out to Lynn Paulo. We gave her a little love last episode too because of Mickey's sad
she's
sweater.
The best.
Mickey's sad sweater was in the last episode, so we had a moment.
Well, she's the best. She really like takes a lot of care in putting together the wardrobe for each character and really making it feel like they all each have like a style. And then I also wanted to mention, I can't remember who does the music for the show, like who picks the soundtrack, but they always have such great music.
I have so many
show.
songs that
Same.
I've had so many songs from what I've gotten from the credit music. Oh my god, there's that one song, I forget what episode it's from. I think it's from an earlier season. It's called All You Leave Behind. That song goes so goddamn hard.
Yeah, I think I remember that one. Or like November Was White, December Was Gray is the song when Fiona comes and sees Steve at the car shop and she's like all dressed up. It's like their little reunion moment. That's in a really early episode. I think it was episode 2, maybe.
I have a whole playlist on my phone that's just Ian and like significant Ian and Mickey songs.
Yeah.
And it's
Sleep Forever.
Is Move Like You Stole It on there? If Move's not like you stole it's not on there,
It's
I'm gonna have
2.
a problem.
Move Like You Stole It, Basic Instinct by The Acid.
Yeah. The high I have the luck you got. I have the luck you got. Move Like You Stole It. Love is a Battlefield. Pink and White. Living on a Prayer. At Last. Raising Hell by Kesha and Perfect by Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. The Way We Get By Spin.
Tongues by Joywave. That song during Ian's Bipolar Drive.
Yeah. Trying to think of like what else they used the Black Keys when that was Sheila's exit song in season 5 when she drove away. Falling Together, the Mason Brothers. That's the scene when Mickey's like, sorry I'm late. That's Sorry I'm Late scene.
Sorry I'm late.
Hyper Flowers by Los Waves, that's the song that plays when Mickey's running to Ian at the end of season 5.
Oh my god.
So, Deep at Heart and It Hurts a Little Bit. Yeah.
Alrighty.
That's the end of the episode. There's a storm a brewing outside of my window. Oh, she's getting salty up in here. It's about to get spicy. It's gonna be great.
Yes, so thunder here too. All right. So, how do you guys feel about this episode? What are your feelings?
I love this.
For it not being like a super I guess because obviously I'm like an Ian and Mickey and Fiona and Lip like stan. So like for it not being a super like Gallagher heavy episode, this is really one of the better episodes in definitely season 1, but like in the entire show. It's dramatic and it's funny, and I don't know. I do like this one a lot.
It is definitely leading towards them ending on a high note in season 1. It's them like planting their flag and being like, and we're here. Like it's.
Yeah, it feels like a very it feels like this episode, and this always happens with episode 10s in this show because obviously they're all like 12 episode seasons. So like specifically I think about like 510 is one of the more memorable ones too. Like it really feels like episode 10 is always the setup for whatever big event is gonna happen at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So this feels like they're ramping up the tension a lot, which is nice.
Yeah. And I love Chloe Webb. I love every time we see her, and like this is the last time we see her for season 1, but like I'm excited to see more from her in the future. I'm excited that there was no cash in this episode. It was a very
a blessing. A blessing.
Zero cash content and a whole good Mickey scene. We love that for us.
Yeah, not a lot of Kevin D in this episode. Not very Kevin D centric. I think in season 1, definitely they existed as sort of an extension of the Gallaghers, or they were really there just to like serve the Gallaghers plot devices. But then in season 2, especially with their foster kid, they start to like grow some legs, which is nice.
Yeah, no Ethel in this episode. No Kevy and Ethel in this episode, but like honestly good, because this writer's room needs to learn to practice editing, because sometimes it tries to cram too many things in one episode that don't need to be there. And like you're right, we didn't need a Kevin V like storyline in this episode. We didn't need it. It wasn't necessary. And
yeah, but we did get a little bit of V and Kev just like kind of hanging around in the background, which was always good just to see them hanging out.
Yeah.
Kev's like he's like the balance beam for like all the bar scenes, and then V's there for all like the Fiona more like hearty heart scenes and stuff like that. And like that's what it definitely seemed like it was in the beginning. But like as you said, like as the seasons progress, they become more so their own people, and then their storylines compatible with like other people's storylines, and then they just become one big people as a whole.
Yeah, definitely in early seasons, Kev is mainly there for comic relief, and Veronica exists as an extension of Fiona. I think Veronica's main purpose in season 1 was to be somebody that Fiona relays news to, so that we find out things.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of used as just like somebody that a character can talk to, so that we now know details, which is nice. But it does seem a little bit two-dimensional. So yeah.
But yeah, I really like this episode. I think it was a good one.
Yes, I'm a screenwriting major. Yes, I'm talking about this, but yeah.
No, I love that. I have a BFA in filmmaking. I will talk about this shit all day long. I love it.
Literally, I could talk for hours uninterrupted. And we did. We talked for about 2 hours. So.
And honestly, I think you're the biggest Shamey stan we have had on so far. Like, our last 2 guests have watched it. One of them because I forced him to. But I literally come back but Evan, before you got on the call, she was like, yeah, I want to be here for 306. I want to be here for 411.
I want to be here for... I want to be here for Gallavich Wedding. I want to be here for...
Oh, of course.
We love that for you. I love that.
Yeah, whatever other crazy episodes.
No, we'll get you we'll get you for the Gallavich centric episodes, because you can dish it out.
Yes. I dish it out. I broke my phone one time because I was so excited that a Gallavich deleted scene was released. I dropped my phone and it shattered.
The day that 408 aired, I was on spring break from college. And my college was 2 hours north, and it was it was the weekend before my birthday. So it aired on a Sunday night, so I should have been like driving back to school. But I was at my house and we had my birthday, and my parents like let me stay to watch Shameless, and then my dad drove me back to school from like 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. so that I could watch Ian and Mickey making out on my birthday. It was so nice.
Incredible. That is so incredible. Such an icon. You're such an icon.
But yeah, literally, whenever you want to come back, if you see like an episode in season 2 that you want on, fucking let us know, and you're here.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, do I get to plug my?
Oh yeah, so let's do our wrap up. So let's do
our wrap up.
So let's plug the show. You guys can follow the show on @luckwehad on Instagram, @luckwehadpod on Instagram, @luckwehadpod on Twitter. You can email us at luckwehadpod@gmail.com. And our website is linked in the bios of all of those things. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Please rate us, subscribe. It really does matter. Please let Apple know that you like us. And write into us, please, if you are interested. If you've got a fan fiction you want us to read, if you've got stuff you want to say about an episode that's upcoming, even if it's like a season away, we will file it away and we'll talk to you. DM us on Instagram. Talk to us. We want to know what you want to know from us, or if you like, let's communicate. But that's where you can follow us. You can follow me at abnormalamanda18 on Instagram and at abnormalamanda on Twitter.
You can follow me on Instagram at Kojak, COJACKK. You can follow me on Twitter at Friedman, FRLEDMAN. But the L is supposed to be an I, and that's and you can also find me by that same handle, FRLEDMAN, on TikTok.
Awesome. And you can find me on Instagram at I wanna die4000, or the same thing as my TikTok, I wanna die 4000. I really don't use Twitter as much, but you can follow me on Twitter at InternetLifeYo. I made that username in middle school, and I have yet to change it. But I want to say thank you so much, CJ, for joining us. This was amazing.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
We get so excited every time we have guests, and especially like you, of all people, who have been there since I started watching Shamey, and like I know how much you're into it as much as me and Amanda. So it's always nice to have another fellow person.
Always good to go on crazy tangents and just talk.
Exactly.
This was really fun, guys. I had a great time.
It was probably my favorite episode to record so far.
Yes, I will definitely be back.
I love Asher and Simone a lot. No, I love you guys a lot, but like this was super fun to record. This was awesome. But yeah, so let's sign off and let's say bye to our podcast friends. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. Rate us and review us.
Bye.
Bye.